Oh, and we're live.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to Season 2, Episode 89 of the UK Dallas Cowboys Fan Club podcast. I just got in by the skin of my teeth. I was having technical difficulties, and Paul agreed.
Just a ball here, mate.
Just about by the hair on my chinny chin chin. How are you both, gents?
Not too bad, not too bad. I've got a wee bit of company now. Well, she's actually passed out now. Not in a female. I mean, as in a dog. So yeah, I've got a companion now. So it's all good.
Very nice. You can't beat it.
So she might actually jump up, and you might see her today, folks. So. Because we all know here in UK Cowboys, especially like Kelsey and Megan, that they all love dogs, so it's all good.
Yeah, yeah. As a fellow dog parent, yes, I wholeheartedly endorse that statement. Graham, how are things?
It's been better. I mean, half time it looked all right, but we'll get into that. Yeah, Scotland is in lockdown. Well, most of Scotland is in lockdown, so
yep, still here.
Bit of Cowboys respite. Well, but we'll get into that.
We absolutely will. It's the first day that we have come out of a 6-week lockdown here in Ireland. So I think everyone is burning down the shops at the minute. And get Christmas presents.
Jeez.
God only knows what it's going to be like for the next few days. But good evening, one and all. As you can see, joined by Paul and by Graham. Before we get into this, obviously, send your comments in. Paul's already flashed up the sign there. Otherwise, we're just three guys talking about a game which is 5 days old now at this stage that we've thoroughly dissected amongst ourselves in the group chat, but your feedback, any comments you have, just send it in to us and we'll get you up there. And Paul, if you want to do the shout out to our corporate sponsor, Mr. Barry Griffiths.
Yes, of course. So as you noticed from our Thanksgiving show, our one and only Mr. Barry Griffiths was our special guest, and this is Cowboys Experience, the ultimate fan experience for meet and greet, tailgate and game day experiences. As myself and Jamie, we've went with Cowboys Experience on numerous occasions. I cannot vouch for these guys like any higher. They treat you like royalty. So if you are planning going to a Cowboys game next year, there's obviously with COVID and stuff like that, be sure to book with Cowboys Experience and use the discount code UK Cowboys to receive a free gift. So, and what more else can I say? It's a free gift, and also you get to meet like some legends, like Drew Pearson and current Cowboys and stuff like that. And yeah, and it's great. So yeah, cowboysexperience.com.
And Graham, give us the Richard Jones line.
Don't be a clown. Enjoy free stuff.
Yes.
Very good, very good. So,
Evening, Lauren. Evening, Lauren.
Lauren, our most reliable. I think Lauren at this stage is pretty much has sealed the number one spot for us in our. He's always online.
Yep.
Getting into the quick highlights. Obviously, we lost. No, we didn't lose 16-41 to the Vikings. I forgot to update that. We lost 16-41 to the football team. Our record is now 3-8 on the season. We are in last place in the NFC least. We have a top 5 draft pick. If the season ended today, I mean, could it get any worse, folks?
No, I don't think it could get any worse unless we actually lose Zach Martin or lose anyone that's still significantly a star player. Well, would you call them a star player after that second half performance? But it's just been one of them seasons where injuries have just completely cost us, and it's just, among other things, which I'll let you guys go into deep because I just couldn't watch the last 5-10 minutes of that game. I couldn't watch it. I actually left, and I was just that disgusted with it. So that's my narrow-minded view in that game. It's like second half I thought we were doing all right. Then after it, I was just like,
Yeah.
The most irritating thing is the implosion in the fourth quarter. 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter.
It's like we completely fell asleep. It's like somebody just turned off the life support and we were just like, beep. Like,
yeah.
And I just could not understand it at all. It was bizarre. It's like we were doing fine going into the fourth, I think, from what I can remember. Like we were still trailing, yeah, but we were still in the game. We were still pushing the ball upfield. We could have made better use of the red zone. Don't get me wrong, but somehow something happened in that fourth quarter. We just completely shut off, and Washington just went to town on us. They just completely decimated us from offensively and defensively in that fourth quarter. And I was just like, it was like a completely different team that we just put out. It was like we had our 3 quarters. We were always in the game. Then the fourth quarter, it's like watching the replacements. It's like watching that film. You just brought your replacement players in and just put on like a whole new, like, I don't know. It was just absolutely bizarre. It really was.
I mean, we obviously we'll get into the Cowboys offense, but I thought our O-line and Zeke had a pretty dismal night in the running game. Passing game, I think they get a pass in the passing game because we did manage to get 25 targets or 25 receptions. So they do get a pass in the passing game. But 32 yards from Zeke, no touchdown. Tony Pollard vanished off the face of the earth. To give them such strong praise for the 1-2 punch that we provided against the Vikings, for it to evaporate, really, really disappointing. Stressed during the Steelers post game, the Vikings pre-game, we have no consistency. We have zero consistency across the team. We asked for the defense to step up. They held, but I think that fourth quarter collapse. Defense. Our offense couldn't move the ball, so you're going to end up gassed on defense. Just a really, really poor show, and particularly in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Lauren coming in with the comment, fourth quarter was all to play for, but think the emotional disruption of the early week took its toll. That's a good point. That could potentially do it, because we did play Thanksgiving, then we're just going back in again. So, I'm just kind of like, the hell,
I mean, it wasn't so long ago. We were seeing comments on Twitter. Should the Cowboys go for the division, and then we go and serve up?
I still think we should. Think we should.
At this stage, I think we're at best going to finish 3-3 in the division, and that includes we have to go to New York for a game. And we have that other team from Pennsylvania who are just about keeping us relevant. I mean, their performance yesterday.
If that's anything to be positive about, at least we are our star quarterback isn't trash.
I think I was looking at this stats at one point last night. And they had 10 passing yards with about, I think, at the 2-minute warning in the first half. I couldn't believe that. So, I mean, as bad and all those things are for us, I mean,
it's worse
God,
being
we'd want to be one of their fans.
It makes you really do wonder why the Eagles went for a quarterback in that second round now, because there was obviously some trust issues, or there was lack of not trust, I would say concerns with Wentz. I know we're kind of going off topic here, but and And I'm sorry, Eagles fans, but I like to take the piss at you, so screw you. So, even though we're just as bad right now, but at least we're not you guys. But
and we're not. We're effectively missing our whole O line.
Yeah, we're missing everything.
Our starting quarterback, our starting tight end from last year, his replacement this year. I mean, I think the only two skill positions which haven't been affected so far, and I'm probably putting the blockers, receiver and running back, and our running backs have been abysmal this year. But
I wouldn't say abysmal overall. There's been it's inconsistent. It's like Graham mentioned it earlier. It's been there's been games where the running game has been so effective. A diminished O line, I've actually stepped up to the plate. Like that game against the Vikings was a perfect example. They did a great job. But going into this game, it was like we're watching a bipolar team. You just don't know what to expect. If that's one word to sum up this Cowboys team, is bipolar.
That is a pretty good comment. But go on, Graham.
I don't know if I can top that. To be quite honest.
Well, hold on, guys.
What I will say is, at least we know our deficiencies.
Yeah.
Every other NFC team, NFC East team has their quarterback. Well, know who their quarterback is. But they don't have the. Do you know what I'm going to say? They don't have the excuses that we do. They don't. Mm-hmm. They don't have like the list you've rhymed off there, Brian. I challenge any team in the league to have that list and not have a 500% season, a 500 percentile season.
Yeah.
Because that it's a brutal injury list. What's making it so tough to be a Cowboys fan right now is every so often we get sown a seed of hope, and 2 weeks later it's dug right out of the ground and binned, and then we've got to start all over again. We get, for instance, we get Jordan Lewis back, Trayvon Diggs goes on IR. That kind of way. It's to and fro.
Bipolar, mate. Bipolar with injuries. You get a good with the bad, and then you get a bad with the good. It's like early on in the season we got rid of the bad stuff and we had the good stuff in with the defensive line. So it's I think that is the word for today is bipolar. Honestly.
Before we start breaking down the game itself, just a quick injury update. Zach Martin and Cam Fleming both went out on the very first drive. Both are reported as likely to miss multiple weeks. I think Zach is an ankle, Cam Fleming is his right knee. I mean, we are now in a situation where we have lost both our starting tackles, our backup starting tackles, and we are now on to third choice starting tackles. I mean, it's unprecedented.
And this is what I am like. I'm seeing I'm not maybe kind of jumping the gun here, but I'm already seeing draft reports, and not one of these draft reports are saying offensive line. And are you freaking kidding me on here? That is probably the most thing we need right now is more O-linemen more than anything. Like defensive players can change based on scheme, changing based on the defensive quality, but when it comes to offensive linemen, the numbers count. You need numbers for offensive line, and with all of our stars there, there's no one there to kind of help grow the backups now. Yeah, they're basically freelancing as they're going along right now. It's and the lack of experience is clearly shown right now. I mean, for example, with Terrence Steele. I mean, he was thrown into the Wolves. He got caught out so many games. Then we took him out, and Zach Martin came in. did a great job in that game, and now he's back out again, and you can see the difference in terms of the caliber of when you've got your starters, then your backups. The backups aren't kind of reaching up to that same level as them right now, but when it comes to going forward, we definitely need to start looking and get more offensive linemen in the off season and in the draft. I would say that's probably more priority number one than over our secondary right now. You can still get good secondary players going into the draft, in the later rounds and stuff like that. Like Diggs, perfect example. I mean, that was an absolute steal, to be honest. But when we get him back next season, different story. But so losing Zach and I hate to say that, losing Cam Irvin. Cam Irvin was actually playing okay up to that point. He's actually getting better. I don't know about you guys, but I was seeing a big massive difference in the past 2 games when Cam Irvin was playing. Especially in the pass protection.
I mean, it's the Jekyll and Hyde season. We can come up for as many phrases as we want for it, but with him having an injury now, there's every chance he'll regress. I mean, here's a question for the both of you: can either of you, or any of the viewers, any of the listeners,
get your comments in, guys?
Can anybody remember the Cowboys going through to let's call it week 12 of the season and not extend anybody? Because to my knowledge, we have not handed out a single contract offer to anybody during the season.
Yeah,
that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I mean, straight off the top of my head, where's Michael Gallup's deal?
Oh, God, that's one thing I'm kind of concerned about, the fact that we're not actually making any moves for him right now.
I will say this honestly: I don't think they're going to renew. I don't think they believe they can renew him, because he is going to want money. But for me, where's he been for the last few weeks?
Yeah,
he's been a non-factor.
Well, that's going to bring his price down anyway, so we might actually get him. Still, we might.
I don't think so. You don't ever generally have 3 receivers like that on one team within the cap era.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, part of it's down to Dak Prescott, and part of it's down to having 3 studs, 3 stud wideouts.
And I think, if memory serves me, I'm pretty sure Mike Gallup doesn't really want to leave. I think he'll, as far as I'm aware, because Barry, our sponsor, he's really close to Michael Gallup. He's one of the players that does come to the meet and greets and stuff like that, has great relations with him. I'm pretty sure that he really does want to stay in Dallas for the long term. And I don't know if he'll do what Jalen kind of did, took a reduction. Well, it's not a reduction, but a team-friendly deal type of thing.
For me personally, I think there's too many teams with hole at wide receiver.
Yeah,
I think he'll get offered stupid money by somebody.
I know. Yeah. Without a doubt, he will. Don't forget, Amari Cooper got offered stupid money from other teams as well, and he decided to take a deal with us instead. But I think it's because, in fact, I actually really don't know. I'm being perfectly honest, but I think it's the culture of the right receivers I've got right now. They feel as though that they can actually do so many good things with Prescott, and for them to go to another team under different scenario, different coach, it's going to be just. Let's be honest. How many free agents who's been offered a big, massive contract have really exceeded expectations? Especially at wide receiver. When you really think about it, it's not really many has done it.
It's a fair point. Off the top of my head, Robert Woods. Who's I'd have to think about it. You're right, Paul. I'd have to think about it. I mean, to be fair, Michael Gallup still has 2021.
Yeah, he's still got next year. So I think that
it's not the last. But I'm struggling to think. When was the last time we went through an entire season and didn't extend anybody? I say entire 12 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, think of the But the viewers can do this in their own time. See, if you go to overthecap.com, you can see our free agents, and there's a hell of a lot of defensive players on that list.
I think
it's almost as if we're saying, sorry, guys.
I think the last one I can recall was when we tried to offer DeMarco Murray the extension and he declined it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. It could be much earlier than that when it comes to, what's his bloody name?
Goodell.
I can't remember. My mind's fucking mush. I'm sorry.
See, for me, the way I look at it is they're still trying to figure out what the cap is going to be next year, how much they're going to have, and once the season is over, they're going to do something because, like at this point, I think we've maybe 30 million we can carry over into next year. We've about 25 million free into next year, so. Obviously, a big chunk of that is going to go to one Ray and Dakota Prescott.
He'll get his money. He'll get his money.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to get the 40 million or the 35 million he was looking for.
No.
But it's going to get done.
The injury is going to set him back in terms of the pay grade, but he will make that back up in terms of sponsorship and endorsements. Because especially when it comes to being the face of America's team, not just America's team, but the world's team. He's going to be on the commercials. He's going to be on the Wheaties boxes, Pepsi commercials. He's going to be the face of the franchise of the Dallas Cowboys. So he will earn that extra revenue outside of the cap. Like, he'll still earn that. Yeah. But in terms of him, his actual salary, it is going to dampen it down a little bit. But you kind of just spoke on it there, Brian. It's just like the injury and stuff like that, and he's not going to get that Mahomes or Russell Wilson money anymore, and I think he needs to accept that. But I think, and we did speak this extensively, and I think it was just down to the poor decision making of his previous agent, Todd France, who was just trying to really rip the piss of the Joneses, or like, because they had an agreement, then France would kind of come back and say, okay, we're not actually, even though we may have kind of verbally agreed, but we actually kind of want this now because of Tannehill and all that stuff now. Like, and that's but the thing is, he's the same agent for Ryan Tannehill for the Titans. You know, like he's like, oh, I can get that deal. I wonder why I can get that deal, even though they kind of like negotiated and stuff like that. And now it just went over the shit because the Joneses were like, no chance. We already kind of agreed what we want to give them, and we know, and here's the length. So, it's not so much about the money now; it's about the length now. Like, they were just completely screwing Dak and screwing the Cowboys left, right, and center because of that agent. And if anyone is trying to understand it, like Dak Prescott had no input. He cannot talk to the Cowboys like Jerry and Steven about the contract. It's all done through the agent and the representatives and the Dallas Cowboys. It's all in them. Like, so if there's one person to blame, it's that guy, Todd France.
Yeah. I will say one thing though for like, I mean, let's not forget Dak has got 31.5 million this season. He has not to play a full season. And you know what? I don't begrudge him that for 1 second because
he's earned it. He's earned it. Like for him to play, like when you really do think about it, over the span course of 4 years, he's earned pennies, and compared to some of the quarterbacks, like he's pretty much earned. I think it's like 1/20th of the contract that Carson Wentz is on. Or something, it's something stupid statistics, like 1/20th or 1/16th. It's in that range in terms of the rookie contracts, because he was a 4th rounder. No one expected him to be a starter or not. But it's crazy, just crazy. Like, but when you're saying that he got his 31 million, at least that helps him bring up the balance of the money that he actually deserved.
I know we're trying to get into the game, but just to go down the list for a quick second, here are the starters or potential starters for the free agency list. Cam Irving has been starting. Joe Looney is the starter. Chido Awuzie, starter. Jordan Lewis, potential starter. Aaron Redmond, the replacement centre, starter, sort of. Antoine Woods, now starting, potentially.
Bring him back.
Noah Brown, Xavier Woods. I mean, this is the thing. Are we going to let all of them go?
Antoine Woods will be. Antoine Woods would be back. I think. Like he's like I don't like people still. Some people do give him a bit of slack. To me, I think he's a favorite. He's a favorite of mine. Like he's the type of player that will actually like, especially what he did in the Pittsburgh game. Like his heart's in the right place. Like he's got the team mentality. He's playing for the star. Like that to me, like it shows that the traits of the personality of the player. Not just that, he can be an absolute disruption in the middle of that defensive line, regardless.
Let's just park this one for a minute, and we will come back to this because it is something we can talk about in a bit more depth. But just before we do actually start getting into the game, we just wanted to bring up a point. Obviously, we were on the show on Wednesday night, and I think it was only just after we finished.
Yeah, half an hour after we finished.
Yeah, the show. Yeah,
Marcus Paul passed away, so obviously we'd all like to pass on our condolences to Marcus, to his family, to the people at the Cowboys organization. I mean, it can't have been easy for the players themselves going out on Thursday for that, but we didn't want to go through this show without letting that being highlighted. So,
rest in peace, Mark.
Yeah, rest easy, Marcus.
So let's try and have a little, let's for a couple of minutes look at the game. I mean, I think look on the Cowboys offense. I mean, we kind of touched on it. Run game wasn't there. O-line wasn't there. Passing game, we give it a pass, but I mean,
it was there. It was there. When you think about it, Brian, like it was there with the O-line that we had.
Yeah,
it's actually not bad when you really do think about it. See, if we had our actual starting O-line there, who knows what the numbers could have been? Who knows what the scoreboard could have been? So all that puts that in perspective. For us to get, for Dalton to get that many amount of yards and even get a single touchdown, and for likes of Cooper to get over 100 yards.
What I wanted to touch on out of this game, right, and I think we did talk about this at the week on last week's show, or it might have been one of the shows the week before that, after the Pittsburgh game. Kellen Moore, is he now coaching for his job? I think we could apply this to every coach on the roster.
Yeah, I think every coach is fine for their job right now. I really do.
After I think it might have been after the Pittsburgh game we were saying he did something, but I'm looking at the stats for red zone offense and it's absolutely rubbish. I would say we're in the bottom 5 across the league for our red zone offense. Graham, thoughts on Kellen Moore?
I no word of a lie. I saw potential Lions head coach for Kellen Moore. Somebody in the NFL rates Kellen Moore. I saw him listed on Twitter as a potential head coach for the Lions, who lost Matt Patricia at the weekend.
Wow! I would love to know. I would love to know what the Lions are smoking right now.
He is a rated offensive mind.
Yeah.
It's difficult because it's like asking a joiner to go to work without a wrench. You know, it's difficult to judge. It's difficult to judge because, I mean, you effectively say to Moore about halfway through this game, not even halfway through, during the first quarter, yeah, Kellen, you know that running game you planned to balance with the passing game. Yeah, we're going to take 2 of your starting linemen away. All right, thanks for that. So what do I do now? The all the viewers will know the camera cut to the Cowboys sideline, and Adam Redmond looked really, really nervous because he was next. He was next to. We finished that game with 6 offensive linemen able to play. It was so tight. You can't judge him. I don't think you can. I mean, it's really, really difficult to judge him.
Yes and no. I do totally. There's been times where I really love what Taylor Moore's done, but it's kind of goes back to there's inconsistency. Even though when we still had the O-line at the early start of the season, even like that Rams game, for example, the season opener, some of the decision making that he was doing, I was like, what are you doing? What? Like, why the sweep and like the sweep passes and all that type of stuff? And I'm just like, how many tackles for loss did we have in that game? Because of Aaron Donald, and this is for supposed to be our starting 5 O-line at the time. So, and kind of going forward that as well. Like, there's been like I said, like there's been moments of pure magic where it was the right play call, but there's been some absolute howlers as well, and I think Kellen Moore does need to take some stick for that, because he knows the players that are on the field, he should play to their strengths. Why run the fake handoff and pass it to whoever? Then it's like I can't even remember I'm a defensive minded player, right? Yeah. But it's like a double pass. You know what I mean? Like you're handing it off, then you hand it off to free flicker, right? Pretty much. And you're like, it's like the defense kind of knew it was kind of happening. It's like it was like too predictable.
Yeah. That football team.
I'm going to be scared for the next couple of years. I'll be honest. Like, regardless who we draft offensive linemen or bring in the off season for offensive line, we're still going to have our work cut out with that defensive line. No, regardless. Chase Young, Fontes Sweat. Sorry, Graham.
As long as it stays hungry, because you never know what happens when you pay a D lineman. It can disappear. I mean, the Washington know all about paying defensive linemen and Albert Hainsworth. So,
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much you can do if you know your pocket's going to collapse 95% of your plays. I mean, we were worried about it before Zach Martin went down. We were worried about it before Cam Irvin came out of the game. I mean, this is why it's so frustrating, because we were in the game in the third quarter, despite all of it, despite losing the entire offensive line, despite losing Dak, despite having a questionable at best defense. We were there. It was possible, and then it just collapsed.
It's like we ran out of steam.
So this is not just offense orientated. Like, can I bring you both back to one play in the game? And this is where it seemed to all fall apart. It was the interception by Jalen. Like, Jalen was trucking down the sideline, and Van Der Esch made a soft block on I think it was Terry McLaurin. Yeah. And McLaurin caught Jalen Smith, and with that, just everything, the air just went out of the team.
That's a good point. You would have thought that the whole team would have been fired up after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like we saw it on the sideline, but it's funny that you mentioned that. Like, we were at the 1 yard line. I don't even, like, did we even score a touchdown in that drive after that interception? I don't think we did.
Kicked a field goal.
There you go. It's just a field goal. It should have been 7 points. It should have been.
Yeah.
It should have been run like in the words of West Coast, run the damn ball.
Yeah.
Like that's what should have happened, and we just kept. Washington just basically had one over us throughout that whole game when it comes to situational red zone, pretty much. Because most of our touchdown, I think our touchdown came from the long ball, didn't it? Like I'm still
54 yards, 54 yards bound over the top.
Like so, it doesn't matter. Like regardless, like it always seems to be like you said. Like we're one of the worst teams for red zone. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
I think it was Mike that said that he is questioning Jalen now. But I don't think the game collapsed on the interception. That was a kind of shot in the arm, in my opinion. I think the game collapsed on the 4th and 10 fake punt. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
It seems to be piling on top of Jalen Smith just now.
Yeah, like let's jump straight into that. I mean, what happened on that 4th down play?
Right. I've been thinking because we knew this question was coming up. And regular listeners, the regular viewers will know I'm a Mike McCarthy guy, but not to the extent where I will back him to the hills and put Cowboys tinted glasses on and just say stupid things. That was a ridiculous decision, and we can all blame the special teams. We can blame the special teams coordinator, but he must have approached McCarthy to say, "Can I do this?" And McCarthy must have signed off on it. There is no way.
Yeah,
John Fassel has gone in with that punt formation and not told Mike McCarthy's what he's doing.
Because you saw them speaking about it after it. Like, it's like there was a bit of miscommunication or something.
4th and 10, almost in the red zone.
I couldn't believe it. It was in the red zone. It was. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What the." Like I literally like that to me was the point. Like that's it, game's over. That was it for me. Like I felt as though if there was a chance for us to still be a part of the game, that was it. Like I would have been happy like just get the ball over to their side and let the defense try and get the ball back, at least. But the fact is we actually forced our defense to be automatically like just coming on the field and being red zone minded.
Yeah.
It's like
exactly, Paul. Our defense needs every bit of help it can get. Long fields. Ask Alex Smith to drag the ball down the field. You know, we all know Alex Smith struggles. He's a game manager. He was a game manager. I think he's been a game manager his whole career. He's not gonna. I don't think he's going to tear teams apart anymore, and I fully expect Washington to look at QB in March. That's not a secret. They're going to look at QB.
Do you know what the crazy part is, Graham? The fact is he's pretty much the third string quarterback.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the crazy thing. That's the crazy thing about this whole situation. It's like Alex Smith just came back from a devastating injury. He's had limited reps all season. Clearly, what's his face? The quarterback that got drafted for Washington last year, Dwayne Haskins. He's clearly not want to be there. Nah, he's not want to be involved. That he's looking to kind of get offloaded to some other team to try and reinvent himself. Then you've got this guy Kyle Allen or something. Like he's he was promoted to the star. He got injured, and you're basically asking for a guy who just came back from coming back from death. Pretty much, he could have died from the infection of the injury that he got, and it just like you said, he was pretty much being a field general for that whole game.
I mean, 4th and 10.
I know. It's
4th and 1, maybe.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
4th and 10 inside the Redskins, inside the football team's half. Yeah, possibly, but not where they were. Not where they were.
And the worst thing was, it was pitched so far back. I mean, you are not giving the guy a chance to even make a play.
No.
Yeah.
And
it's not just that. It's like I can see why we did it though, because they would never expect it. But the thing is though, is to snap back. It was too far back, and the special teams on the defensive side were like, hold on a minute here. It's like we've got time to capitalize on this.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know
that's the problem.
I don't know what the particular position is on special teams, but the Washington player lined up at the sideline. Go back and watch the play. He doesn't move. He lets his guy go because he knows that something doesn't smell right, and he made a solid tackle, and we end up with egg in our face.
Yeah, we deserved a slap in the face for that because it was stupid.
Lo and behold, it took them 6 seconds to score a touchdown.
Yeah. So I think the worst thing was we didn't even get back to the line of scrimmage on that play.
No.
So
it was actually, I think it was a tackle for loss.
Yeah, it was. It was a tackle for loss. So it might have been that we were just outside the red zone, but it ended up back inside the red zone because it was a tackle for a loss. But flipping it over, let's just take a quick look at the defense. I mean, it makes tough reading. It really does. I mean, I don't know what to say anymore.
If I'm going to be judging it based on the first 3 quarters of the game, I'll give some praise at least, and that's to Donovan Wilson.
Yeah.
Like to me, he was showing a lot of grind for that whole game. He made some critical tackles, especially in the third down. But it just seemed like after that fourth quarter, like going into that fourth quarter, it's like all heads were down. We were just like that team that we played so bad against. I don't know what was the Arizona. That game, like I thought that game was bad, but that fourth quarter alone. No, actually, sorry, Cleveland was worse. Cleveland was worse. That was a worse one, especially in the when they were running the same play over and over again. We still couldn't adjust to what they were doing. But like James Logan said earlier, and on the comments, Ron Rivera outcoached us pretty much as well. Like he did. Yeah. Like, let's be honest, he outcoached us.
Yeah. And like it's not the first time he's outcoached us.
Oh no. Yeah.
No, like I don't think was it the start of last season or was the year before that we played the Panthers in the first game of the season and they absolutely handed us our ass.
That was 2 years ago. I
2 years ago.
I think it was either 2 or 3 years ago. It was one of the years where I went over to Texas. I can't remember. It was either the year that I went to the Houston Texans game, or it was the year before for Thanksgiving against the Chargers before they went to LA.
Like I mean, the other highlight, obviously Randy Gregory. He wasn't in on a lot of snaps, but he made huge impact on the snaps he was in. Two sacks on Alex Smith.
That helps. That helps. Not being the rotation must help them. Great to have Randy back, and he's made a huge difference.
I'm over the moon that he's back. I'm over the moon that he's back. I've always been a big fan of Randy Gregory because of his physical presence that he can deliver and the speed that he can. And his speed, like he is a physical specimen when he's actually on that field. Like I said this many months ago. If we were to get Randy Gregory and said we're going to get that same type of player back, because we saw that when a couple of seasons ago he came in for that pretty much that one game of the season against Tampa Bay and absolutely gave James Winston the biggest ass whooping I've ever seen in my life. And we lacked that like this season. And especially when we got rid of the dead wood, it seemed like well, I was talking about like the defensive line kind of rejuvenated again. But Gregory seems to be just like he's like he's so like he's got his head straight. He wants to play football. I'm all for it, and I know it's kind of, and I know I'm kind of going off topic again, but I'm just kind of glad that it doesn't take a much impact in the contract. Like he's still on his rookie contract.
Yeah.
He's still on that, and I think we've still got 2 years left on him, which is amazing when you really think about that.
Yeah, I think it might be a year at the end of the season, but I mean, we'll go back to the point
Valenti in the house. Valenti in the house.
That Graham was making earlier in terms of impending free agents. Like whoever is in charge of the Cowboys next season, they're going to have to rebuild this whole defense.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be Mike McCarthy. I'm certain it'll be Mike McCarthy.
Yeah,
if we look at it on all three levels, like Paul, I'll flip to you for the defensive line, and Graham, if you want to take the linebackers. I mean, where or what are the bright spots that we can build on?
In terms of the defensive line?
Yeah.
Bright spots is just like we do have the youth side now in terms of growth. We've got Gallimore. Yeah. Like Woods is still relatively young. He's still relatively young. In terms of like the players that could potentially be on the way out, and as much as I hate to say it, it's Tyron Crawford. I hate to say that. Like when you think about it in terms of contract and in terms of the history, like he's been a great servant to the Cowboys, but I can see him being like cut next year or whatever on that, and we'll bring in some fresh faces.
He's a free agent.
Yeah, so like he'll be out. I think he'll be out in the market. I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's so hard to judge, really, because it's been so up and down. Like I would have thought with having Jim Tulsilla as our defensive lineman coach, we would have been like the top tier. But how much is he being told by Mike Nolan to have it run in a separate, like in a scheme that suits him rather than what Tulsilla's trying to teach? So I don't know if there's like, because I've said this all season. It's like teaching a defensive lineman when they're so used to the one type of stance, which is a 3-point stance compared to a 2-point stance. It changes the whole dynamic. Like 2-point stance is more of a read and react, whereas a 3-point stance is full of aggression. Get to the ball carrier, get to the quarterback. I don't know if that's had any impact. I don't know. But it's just been such a bipolar. I hear go with the word again. It's just been so good and bad, good and bad, good and bad. But for next season, there will be faces that's going to be kept, obviously, in terms of the contract. Like I'm still raving about Gallimore. Gallimore's still going to be a stud in the future, without a doubt. My personal opinion, you can quote me on that. Woods will get re-signed, I think, again, because he's been such a great utility player. Like it's always been like 1-year contracts and stuff like that. He's been getting every season. That I think he might get maybe like a 2-year. That may be the only extension he might get. Nothing too big because it's because he's always dipping and diving how he's been utilised. I think he'll be happy because he is quite happily settled in Texas. He might go back to a California team depending on what the offer is. Who knows? But in terms of, and I know what your thoughts are about DeMarcus Lawrence, Graham. I don't know where that's going to go. I'll be honest. Like he needs to. Like he has done some good things this season, like putting the pressures and that. But in terms of when you put, it doesn't look great when you're putting out the statistics out in terms of the sacks and the QB hits or the tackles for loss or anything like that. It's been very non-productive that way. It seems to be opening it up for everybody else. But when you're getting paid with that X amount of money, you're expected to be the one getting all those numbers. So, I mean, I don't know, but what are your guys' thoughts about our defensive line, guys? Be sure to get your comments in, and don't forget our linebackers as well. More comments, the better, guys.
Yeah, like Graham, throwing it over to you. Is there going to be a rebuild in the linebacker room this year?
No.
You're ruling it out.
No, definitely. They've spent huge capital in Van der Esch. They've just paid Smith. I think, as much as it pains me, I think this will be Sean Lee's last season.
Yeah.
I think having him in the coaching role, maybe.
Unless, hopefully. But to my knowledge, we don't really have any great depth.
We don't.
So
No.
You've got to have depth to be able to rebuild it. There's been so much laid on Jalen Smith. No wonder he's a top tackler. Van der Esch seems to. I think we can label. I think it's easy to label Van der Esch as injury prone. He's had a couple of big injuries the last 2 seasons. It'll be a sad day when Sean Lee retires from the field. I don't know if he'll retire altogether, but he'll retire. He'll hang up the helmet anyway. And they're either going to have to spend draft capital bringing in a replacement, or they're going to have to spend money in free agency, which I don't know if we particularly have. But one of the things they're going to have to figure out: are we a 4-3 or a 3-4 defense? And they're going to have to nail that down pretty quickly, because
we need to simplify the playbook a lot more.
I mean, off seasons are the time to do it.
Yeah.
So they need to figure out: are they going to have DeMarcus Lawrence with his hand in the dirt or not? Where is Jalen Smith going to play? Is he a Mike? Is he an outside? Can Leighton Van Der Esch last 16 games? Who's coming in to replace Sean Lee?
Yep.
A lot of questions. A lot of questions.
And here's something that I just, whilst you were talking, I was just thinking on this. Here's names that I've not heard mention of in the last 6 weeks: Joe Thomas, Justin March, Luke Gifford, and Francis Bernard.
Not heard one word.
Are we really just trying to flog Jalen Smith and Leighton Van Der Esch to death? Or does McCarthy not trust these guys?
That could be that's a good, interesting point, Brian. That could be maybe one of the, just when you're brought into your team, you got to work what you've already got. It's plain and simple. You need to work with the players. You can't exactly just get a brand new 53-man squad just in overnight. You can't exactly have every single player that you desire to fit this game or whatever that. You need to make work what you do. So, I mean, it was either going to be a successful year, or it's going to be one of those years it's always going to be next season. Give more time, because it's going to be a rebuilding year. I think it's now safe to say it's going to be a rebuilding year for McCarthy, regardless whatever position we're looking at, if it's D-line, linebacker, corner, whatever on that, defensively. He will want to get more players that he wants next year, and he'll have an influence on McClay and Jerry and stuff like that. I think this is why. I don't know. I'm not trying to defend McCarthy, but I think this is why he was trying so many different variations of the 4-3 and the 3-4 defense to see because he's trying to understand how this team works more than anything. So I don't know if that could be the reason behind that. I mean, what you guys' thoughts are?
I think it's going to count against him, because Kevin Stefanski is a first-time head coach. He has the Browns at 8-3. Now, yes, he had a lot of first choice draft picks, very high draft first round players on his team. But he's come in the same situation as McCarthy, and he is his team 8-3. And McCarthy has his team as 3-8.
Yep, and not just that. Stefanski's got a lack of experience compared to McCarthy. A lot lack, but I think. I don't know what every head coach has that. They set out a principle. They set out a rule, what the message behind the team. It seems like the Browns are well behind that message behind the team, and we saw it with us. We've had players coming out and argue with each other with the coaches.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know. I know, Graham. I know.
Yeah. Like Graham, I'm gonna get you to tee me up here with this one. So if you go back through that list of impending free agents, I think you'll find most players in that are in the secondary. So, and kind of Andrew had raised this point: we need cornerbacks, we need safety, and another top pass rusher, which I agree with wholeheartedly. Yeah. Cheeto, Jordan Lewis, Xavier Woods. They have 5 games. They're playing for the star on their helmet, as far as I'm concerned.
I can't. No, I can't let the pass rusher talk go. We have our pass rusher, and he's not pass rushing. pure and simple.
We've got other pass rushers that are doing it.
We do. Yeah, we do. But our $20 million. I'm going to go down this road again, and
Graham's going red right now. He's going red now.
I invite everybody watching this this show, this podcast, to type a comment and tell me if I'm wrong. Right? I invite the comments on this one. Just brought up
comments folks
on ESPN. Just brought up the sack leaders for 2020. Aaron Donald, obviously, huge contract, right?
Yeah.
Myles Garrett is third, huge contract. Kerry Hyder, remember him?
Yeah.
7.5 sacks.
Former Cowboy.
Yep. Let's see, keep going down the list. Yep, Khalil Mack is higher. Jamal Adams has more sacks than DeMarcus Lawrence. I'm sorry. We don't need another pass rusher, and we're not going to get rid of DeMarcus Lawrence. We need our pass rusher to pass rush. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The $20 million price tag on his head every year. I'm sorry. It just invites comments, and just waiting on a comment coming in from the viewers to tell me.
I think Cersei agrees, mate. I think Cersei agrees with what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Graham. I mean, I was actually looking at the numbers whilst we were talking about the linebackers. DeMarcus Lawrence has 4.5 sacks. He is the 39th ranked pass rusher. He is being paid as a top 5 pass rusher.
Yeah, and the problem with it is, right, I keep hearing that, the offensive line, the defensive line is not up to it this year. That is why DeMarcus Lawrence is having to do so much. Do you honestly think Aaron Donald doesn't get double teamed every single play?
He's the main target. He's the main target.
Do they let TJ Watt? Ringing off these names: Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Kerry Hyder. We'll even bring Kerry Hyder. Do you think they're obviously drawing double teams, but they're still getting to the quarterback?
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Donald and Hyder are defensive tackles. They're having to come through the middle.
Yeah,
they're not and center. You know, so they are double teamed at the best of times.
You're talking about 99.9%. Most of the time they're getting double teamed, depending on what the scheme of the offense is. Hey, stop that.
Yeah. But I mean, I think. Look, the saying goes, you can never have enough pass rushers, and I agree with that. And depending on how the draft falls, I'm gonna just slightly segue on this one. If you can get some tape on Greg Rousseau, he is the top ranked pass rusher in this year's draft. He is not a Chase Young. There is no Chase Young in this class. But he is the guy to watch out for in terms of edge. But Again, go on, Graham.
I think we can rule out pass rusher.
Like, especially when you think about next season, like there's offensively, O-line is number one priority. Two would be cornerback.
So many cracks, and the problem with it is we paid DeMarcus Lawrence $100 million to get rid of that, and it's not happened. It has not happened. I mean, I'm fed up. I'm fed up saying, "Oh, didn't our defense play so badly?" We need to finish with this. We need to start identifying the problem. And DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm sorry, is one of them. You can talk all day about QB pressures and, you know, tackles for loss is great. Don't get me wrong. It's as good as a tackle for loss. But I'd love to know how many of those QB pressures turned into touchdown passes.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
But
like,
it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And Alden Smith has more than DeMarcus Lawrence, and we literally pulled Alden Smith off the street in the summer.
That second chance saloon. It was like pretty much what's the linebacker that we brought in years ago, former Raven. McLean, Rolando McLean, mind, but nobody wanted to sign him. He retired and came back, and we gave him like 2 years. He did a decent job. So it's the same with Alden Smith. It's like low risk, high reward.
Yeah.
Point to proof.
Graham, if you want to go back through those names, because I can see the comment in there from Andrew that he's saying offensive tackle in the first round.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that comment. And I'm on record as saying Penny Sewell is who I want.
Penny Sewell, it has to. Penny Sewell, nothing more. I'd say if we don't get Penny Sewell,
we might not get the opportunity to get Penny Sewell. This is the thing.
Yeah, that's the problem. He's that good.
And if you Graham, if you read out those names again.
Right. So Aaron Donald has 10.
No, the free agent names.
Oh, the free agent. I do apologise. Yeah. So obviously Prescott. We've talked about Crawford. We expect Sean Lee to have his last year. Andy Dalton's up in the air. Cam Irving, Joe Looney, Alden Smith, top pass rusher. Blake Bell, squad player.
Yeah.
LP, the constant cowboy. There's every chance he'll be back. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Joe Thomas, the forgotten man. Cheeto, drafted 4 years ago. Goodwin. Mark Chillard, another forgotten man at linebacker.
Yeah.
The nervous center, Adam Redmond. Lewis could be a potential starter. He's questionable.
Yeah.
Woods, we've talked about. Every chance he'll come back. Malik Turner, he's on the list. Eli Anuk, Greg Sinat, Xavier Woods has come in and started on plenty of occasions. Noah Brown, the special teamer. Don't know if you'll have much confirmation for him. Rondell Carter.
Practice squad. He was a free agent and after this year's draft. But I mean, if you kind of look at those names, right?
In the grand scheme of things, it's a lot of players. That's a lot.
Well, it's our secondary, which is in a lot of trouble because we effectively, Cheeto is our cornerback 2.
Yep.
Lewis is our cornerback 3. Woods is one of our starting safeties. I mean, we're going to have to look at corner and safety in free agency and in the draft. Again, just to give you a couple of names, Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech, Patrick Surtain from Alabama, 2 cornerbacks. Then safety, I cannot do any safety. I know Caden Stearns from, but he'll be a second or third round pick. But I mean, we need something at safety, and I think we're going to need a veteran at in that mix at safety and corner because.
But who's going to, if all the veterans is out there, who's going to be available in the market? Like
you're going to have someone.
Like, well, obviously there's bloody the Mr. ET's going to still be there,
no.
but no one's going to touch him. No one's going to touch him, especially
touch him, and we're not.
Like if people were so desperate for safety, why is he not signed for a team?
Yeah, but we need to address the secondary because we're getting absolutely lit up by a team with a halfway decent quarterback. And
not just that, we're actually seeing it without Diggs now.
Yeah.
Like just this comes to show like he was going to be our like defensive player of the year by a long shot. I think.
Yeah.
Like he was the player that was on the most. I would say Diggs was the most consistent for our whole like ups and downs this bipolar season. He was the only player that seems to be that has that consistency, the fire, like making the big tackles, making the disruptions, and the wide receivers. Man, yeah. If we can get free Trevon Diggs picks and back up the free agency, then we're rolling. You know. But
I mean, obviously it's early days. I mean, do you think the Steelers podcast is talking about the draft?
No.
I think they will. They'll still have something to talk about right now.
The Steelers are wondering who they're going to be drafting at 32nd.
Yeah.
It's terrible to be talking draft. Right now, if the draft fell perfectly, I would spend the first one on offensive tackle and spend the rest on defense.
Yeah.
Best player available on defense.
I would say we need at least 2 offensive linemen in the draft. At least 2. Sorry, 2. We do need 2 just to be on the safe side. But the rest defense.
Yeah.
Maybe it depends. I think it really depends where going forward, where we are in the draft. If there's a best player available, if there's an offensive lineman that may have dropped down a little bit, I'm sure you're going to take him over cornerback based on best available. You know, so there could be that. I think it might be one of those ones where, when it comes to the third round going down, it's going to be best player available, pretty much. Primarily, the first choice is going to be secondary.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Graham, Mr. Wilson Senior can attest to this. If Mike McCarthy is there, he doesn't draft skill positions.
Oh God.
Well, look what happened this year. We did draft a skill position.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
His brother.
But Brian, I'd say that's more of an argument for the actual Packers organisation. They don't draft skill players.
Yeah.
I mean, just do the viewers know how tough it is to have 2 close family members who are staring the playoffs in the face? And my dad's a Packer, my brother's a Dolphin. And
wow, that must suck.
They're both looking at Paul. The Dolphins are looking at the playoffs.
I don't care. It must still suck.
I mean,
you seen the uniforms?
Who knows where that defense has come from? But the Dolphins' defense is it's close to being a miracle. It's been elevated so much. The problem with drafting. Do not start me on Fleeman Jones. How much would we kill for Byron Jones right now? Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, but no. What we'll do is we'll let his contract run down and just let him walk out the door, and then in a year's time we'll let Michael Gallup toddle off down to New York or somewhere.
I think that's been one of the biggest mistakes, is not do the whole Jerry Jones usual thing, get an extension in before the contract runs out. It was Byron Jones. It just shows how much of a fundamental player he was. Didn't matter where you put him, where he was at safety or cornerback. Like, obviously his element was playing corner, but Man, it's clearly showing that for the Dolphins right now. He's just absolutely balling over there.
But I mean, I can't remember who it was made the point in the group. Are Barron, Zach Martin? I suppose it's been Barron, Zach Martin, and Coop. How many of our big earners, of our healthy big earners, are earning their contract at the moment? That you guys would say? Can you name me one?
In perspective, well, I would say Smith, but no.
Yeah.
But I would say Jalen, but it's because.
And in a salary cap game, that's a pretty big issue.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
I know we've got Dak, both tackles, and we've just lost the beard.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Andy with the comment. Yeah, Dak
was, but
yep.
we're in week 12 of the season. It's here and now we're talking about. It's not 2021 we're talking about. So
yeah.
This is the problem. I mean, the point was made during the Thanksgiving show. Something goes on in a player's head when he wears a star on his helmet and he gets a huge wad of guaranteed money. It's almost as if I have made it. I am a Cowboy and I have a huge wage. It's almost as if the foot just comes off the gas.
Yeah.
I mean, 31 yards from Zeke. Fair enough, he had a poor offensive line, but you've got to earn your dough, Zeke. Sorry. You've got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's bonus money behind that contract as well. He's not going to be getting that bonus money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really, really tough being a Cowboys fan just now. It really is.
It's always. What do you mean? It's right now. It's always been tough a Cowboys fan.
Oh, listen,
Even when we're winning, people still hate on us because we're Cowboys fans. So it's tough.
It wasn't so long ago we were playing all the backups in week 17 because we'd strolled the season and we could afford a loss. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
it wasn't. In terms of the NFL, it wasn't that long ago.
It's true.
I mean,
it's true. It's very true. But I think on that bright spot, I think we might wrap up tonight. We might wrap up this evening's show. Graham, if you want to give a shout out to our sponsor before we go.
Yeah, just a quick shout out to Cowboys Experience. We had a great time with Barry on the Thanksgiving show. Shame the game didn't live up to expectations, but if you are planning to go to a game towards the end of this season or into next season, make sure you visit Cowboys Experience because they, like Paul said at the start of the show, they do treat you like royalty. I do hope to be a Cowboys Experience participant in the near future. Hopefully we won't have quite so lengthy an IR list. I remember going to Lambeau Field to watch us get thumped by the Packers. I
think we've just got the comment of the night from our Mr. YouTube viewer, Mr. Austin Powers. It's a shame that we have become trash, and it's actually it's a shame that we have to admit that we're playing absolute trash.
Yeah. Just before we go, and in breaking news, which has just been passed in to us by Mr. Richard Jones, and feeding on from some of our talk earlier this evening, an announcement from the Dallas Cowboys is the draft show will be returning this week on Friday at 11 a.m. Dallas time.
I think that says it all. That says it all.
Yeah.
That the draft show's returning during the season. Season.
So in what, like, this is coming directly from Derek, who is the head of the social media team. The lineup this year will include Brian Broaddus, Dane Brugler, David Hellman, Jeff Kavanagh, Kevin Turner, newcomer Bucky Brooks.
Whoa!
And
Bucky Brooks.
And will be hosted by Kyle Yeomans again. The show will be twice a week.
So that's going to be a quite in-depth draft show, is enough, because Bucky Brooks is really notorious for doing like pretty good, decent mock drafts over the years. But yeah, it's good to see that Brian Broaddus is coming back in as well. Yeah, so we've got. In fact, we've actually got a wee quick comment before we finish up. So where are we officially tanking?
We can't tank any worse.
No such thing as tanking.
I'm gonna say no, but try and lose modestly. I don't know. I don't know. I still think we should still fight to the end. That's me being a competitor, you know. Like I still want us to kind of still put on a good performance regardless, you know. But yeah, I don't know.
We're not getting the first overall pick. We're not.
No.
The Jets, as bad as we are, the Jets are absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, if that's one thing that you could be worse being a fan for, is being a Jets fan right now, because it's just year in and year out, for like 1 in 15, 0 and 16. Like it used to be the Browns, now it's the Jets.
Yeah, there's every chance that Alabama could beat the Jets.
Ha!
There is.
Dude, that's a good bet. That's a good bet. Like I would actually put my money on Alabama. I would.
That is a beautiful segue into wrapping up the show, because just a reminder to everyone that on Thursday we will have a pre-game show for the Baltimore Ravens with Mike Poland of Texas A&M fame.
That's the game.
I don't think he's ever mentioned he's a Texas A&M fan, has he? But everyone, don't forget, follow us on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram.
Spotify, iTunes,
YouTube, Apple. Yeah, all your normal routines. But if we say good night from the two guys.
Night. Have a good one, everyone. Rest easy. It's going to be an interesting show on Thursday.
Yeah, enjoy the game on Sunday, folks. Hang on to your hats.
And it's a good night from me. Thanks, everybody.